even in 2023, children with a disability are, in a sense, stuck in the care system, a lot harder to place into adopted families. And I wanted to have my opportunity to talk about it then, but also from a personal point of view. I know what that is like. It's not a thing that you can do overnight, finding your birth mother. It was a lot tougher than I thought it was going to be emotionally, and I couldn't have done it without the support system around me. Hopefully, from London 2012, things have changed, and it's not just tick boxing, but not every person needs to be putting the pressure on them to be the next voice.
We all don't want to be like activists. Actually, some people will just want to be, and that's also like totally okay.
Yeah, that's all okay as well. Social media, if I didn't have to do it, I wouldn't do it. Literally, I find it quite tough actually. At the moment, I'm just also trying to make sure and mentally be aware of myself that I'm not comparing my body to what it used to be when I was an athlete.
Hello, and welcome to the Purple Goat podcast. I am joined today by the incomparable Ellie Simmonds.
Oh, thank you so much, Dom.
How are you doing today?
Yeah, no, I'm really good. Nice that it's nice weather outside, and looking forward to chatting with you.
Absolutely, me too. If people have been living under a rock for the last many years, 12, 13, 14 years.
Quite a long time.
That you definitely have been in their psyche. Would you mind giving us a little couple of lines on who you are and what you do?
Yeah, so I'm Ellie Simmonds, a retired Paralympic swimmer. Went to 4 Paralympic Games, my first being Beijing 2008 when I was just 13. I came away with 2 golds, and then 4 years later was my high games, really, pinnacle of my career, I would say, was London 2012, the home games. I think we all remember where we were during those games. I came away with 2 golds, a silver and a bronze, and then 4 years later, Rio 2016. Came away with a gold and a bronze too in swimming, and then 5 years actually after that, because of COVID, was my last Paralympics in Tokyo. And then since retirement, I think a lot of people know me for TV things. I've done 2 documentaries and also competing on Strictly Come Dancing. And yeah, entering this next world of this next chapter of TV and all the opportunities that I'm getting, which I'm loving.
There are already so many questions I want to ask off the back of that. Number one, you're very modest. You're just this last week coming off the back of winning something else that's very big and shiny and gold. I think that's it's trumping my medals at the moment. Really?
Yeah,
in terms of how it feels?
Yeah, so I won a BAFTA on Sunday with the team of Flickr and ITV. We won a BAFTA for my single documentary, my documentary Finding My Secret Family. And I think, because I think for me, my medals in my swimming, it was my sport. It was what I trained to do. It's what I did for over, just under 26 years, a long time. And then now this is this next chapter, and to get awards in something that is not just a personal story, but is something that you really enjoy doing in this next chapter of life. So for me, and a BAFTA apparently it's like the Oscars of TV, and it's like the Olympics and Paralympics of TV. So for me, it wasn't just like the achievement for myself, but it means a lot to the team that I worked with during the whole documentary filming. So it just means a lot to all of us.
Amazing. And just in terms of like the journey of that program, going from conceiving it through to winning an award, winning such a prestigious award, how has that journey been? Like, is the product that you ended up with kind of what you wanted it to be, and that whole journey of working in and around it, how was that for you as an individual, where you're centre stage of the documentary itself? Yeah,
the outcome was better than expected, really. Going into it, we thought we just wanted to talk about opening up that conversation of disability, adoption and disability in the care system, because we know even in 2023, children with a disability are, in a sense, stuck in the care system, a lot harder to place into adopted families. And I wanted to have my opportunity and my voice to talk about it then, but also from a personal point of view. I know what that is like. But from a personal point of view, I never thought it was going to be as big as it was, because you never know the outcome. I've been so lucky that I've been able to find my answers to all those questions that I had about my adoption and my fostering and my whole life journey where a lot of people don't get don't get those questions answered. And again, having that opportunity to meet my birth mum as well. So I think the whole documentary took a positive turn, but a positive turn on my life, my journey and my story, where we got to meet so many people. It was just over a year filming, actually, because it was, again, it's not a thing that you can do overnight, finding your birth mother. You've got to go to the social workers, you've got to go to your council, all that type of stuff. But throughout the whole year of filming, I got to meet so many amazing families and follow social workers and talk to people with all different disabilities, and charities as well that support people who are adopted or who are in the care system, who go on that journey of finding their families, because it's an emotional roller coaster. And I think at the time I was still having that athlete inset in me, where I was very fixated, I was very strong, where it was a lot tougher than I thought it was going to be emotionally, and I couldn't have done it without the support system around me. I think because it triggers so much on you as a person and what happened to you at the start. Like, it's traumatic. At the start of your life, you've been given up from someone that was meant to love you, to who was your family, your parents. And I didn't really think of it in that way, in that sense, at the start. So it's definitely brought a lot of emotions up and a lot of questions that you ask about yourself. And, you know, throughout my life, I've had it where when you go to the doctors, they go, is there any medical history? And I've not had any of those. I don't know. I don't know the answers. Like, I've got Glossip on my passport, never been to Glossip, but why is that on my passport? You know, I've had all those where I know why, and I know all my medical history. And again, speaking for everyone who's been adopted, I've been really lucky that I've been able to find my birth mother, but there's a lot of people out there that haven't had their answers answered, and yeah, I'm just that only certain percentage.
Yeah. And you mentioned around almost the sort of it taking a turn and you being almost more vulnerable than you maybe anticipated at the start of that journey. You're obviously very used to being media trained from such a young age when it comes to the world of sport and being in and around sport, but how does that feeling of Ellie Simmonds as Paralympian, you know, in front of the cameras in that sense, how has that feeling felt different to you as part of the documentary, and how that Ellie kind of, you know, is approaching it?
Yeah, so actually throughout my whole swimming career and being an athlete, I never got media trained. Well, we had like words on stuff on like what to use at like a Paralympics and things, but never in the aspect of like, this is what I've got to say, this is what I've got to do. So I think throughout my life, I've probably been hopefully my authentic self. And you see it sometimes when after like interviews, I cry and things and I get emotional, and that's just me. But I think what made it different doing this documentary was more of it was a personal story, it was a personal journey, and it was me opening up about my adoption that I've never spoken about in the public before, but also what made us such a difference and what made me be able to share my emotions and share my vulnerability and share how I felt was the team around me. So I worked with Flickr and I've done 2 of my documentaries with them, and it's a women. Well, there is like 2 men, but majority of them are women. So again, it makes that super comfortable. But also throughout the whole year process, it was just Jazz, the director, and Flora, her assistant, or Kat, her assistant. So we built a great relationship. So it wasn't a situation where you go in and there's loads of cameras around you. There was probably just 1 or 2 cameras, and it was just them 2. And I felt like being with them for a whole year, I got really comfortable with them, and they made it so easy that I forgot I was talking into a camera, and I just was talking to them. And because we shared so much emotions and spent so many days with each other, you forget. So I think that made it really comfortable that I could speak about how I felt and my emotions and my vulnerability, because it was just like speaking to some close friends.
Amazing. And from a kind of perception from the general population afterwards, have you been kind of very pleased by how it's been received and that general sentiment that you've seen online and in the media? So
positive. And it's been, because you never know, because again, it's one of those, it's a tough subject, talking about adoption and fostering and then disability also. But it's a subject that needs to be spoken about. And since speaking about it, the amount of people that have come up to me on the streets and said, like, I'm adopted, or I know someone who's adopted, and having that opportunity to open up that conversation, and also to shine a light that there's so many disabled children out there or people that are looking for homes and families. So to have that amazing responsibility to hopefully be the voice of them too. But the response has been absolutely overwhelming and incredible. And again, adoption is a subject that we don't really talk about, and to open up that conversation and to get people talking about it is just something I'm very proud of.
Yeah, and rightfully you should be. Like, it was an amazing education. It was amazingly emotional. You made me and my girlfriend cry. So thank you.
Thank you.
But it was
make you guys cry.
No, it was honestly, it's a fantastic piece of work. So you rightfully should be very proud. In terms of like your now TV career, your TV personality, have you kind of got the TV bug now in all shapes and sizes of like what you want to do into the future? Have you got a vision of where you as an individual want to move your career?
Yeah, do you know what, Dom? Actually, I don't have that just yet. And I've been so lucky, like I've been retired now for just under 3 years, that every day a different opportunity comes up, whether it's talking to you today, whether it's chatting for Lorraine show and interviewing some famous people, whether
Love
it's
Lorraine.
Me too, she won a BAFTA as well, such a lovely person and such a lovely show to be part of, whether it's talking about sport and commentating to documentary making. I'm loving all the opportunities that I'm getting to do, and if I could continue doing that, I'd love to do more documentaries and I'd love to interview more. That's what I really enjoy.
And like, how much of you, I suppose, like your personality is Ellie, like do you find it's coming out more now you're in this domain, and you as your identity, is it becoming more Ellie Simmonds rather than Ellie the Paralympic swimmer?
Yeah, no, definitely. Like, I always hope that Paralympic swimmer is never going to go though, because I'm so proud to be a swimmer and represent the Paralympics, and I did it for so long that I hope that identity of me never goes. But it's really nice now actually to be seen from a different perspective, and like you said, for my personality to come out and to be comfortable and to help also we know, and from you guys as well at Purple Goat, is having the opportunity to be on a media platform. I hope that I can help create change. Because I remember when I was younger, seeing the likes of someone like me on TV and representation, we know how important it is. It changed my life, seeing people like Warwick Davis, seeing the likes of disabled swimmers, Paralympians on TV. Like, I wouldn't be where I am today if I didn't see that on TV. And now to be able to have an opportunity to go on TV, to be seen as just Ellie Simmonds, to be seen as myself. Yes, I have a disability, I've got dwarfism, but at the end of the day, I think people are starting to see it as just me. And that's what I want, because I hope that there's children out there of every different disability, but also every single child or every person out there, it just sees so many variety of representation on TV, and I think that's so important.
And you as an individual, are there things about you personally that you have enjoyed the world kind of knowing more about in terms of your personality? Are there things that the world don't know yet that you're kind of almost sort of starting to share with the world more openly that you hadn't before in that kind of Paralympic guise?
Do you know what? I think I think people probably see I'm quite social. Yeah. I love a laugh.
Yeah.
I hope that's coming out. I'm quite light-hearted. I'm a woman as well. I'm quite self-conscious. I worry all the time, worry a lot. Probably that's starting to come out too. But there's also sort of stuff that you do want to protect yourself from the outside world seeing as well, like socially and personally and all that type of stuff. But I definitely have showed the world big thing about myself, which is my adoption that I've kept in my close circle for all my life, really.
Yeah, amazing. And as we kind of look forward now, and you obviously mentioned, and rightly so, like you and your platform and your ability to genuinely create change in media, marketing, everything into the future absolutely aligns with how we think and what we do at Purple Goat. We often talk about, the Paralympics every 4 years being this moment in time where the world will see more disability, will be thinking about more disability than maybe any other time. In terms of looking forward to Paris particularly, are there kind of conversations or things that you want to make sure that in this Games gets covered in the media that maybe hasn't previously, or are there certain things about it that you want to make sure that there's creating that change into the future from these Games?
Yeah, no, exactly. I think the Paralympics is every 4 years and we see it on TV and it's incredible, and I think the publicity of it is getting bigger and bigger each Games, and I think these athletes are seen as professional athletes, and that's where it should be. I think going forward, it'll be great that Paralympic sport is not just seen on TV every 4 years. I know World Champs last year for swimming was on TV, but more array of like the whole publicity of Paralympic sports, and not just swimming or athletics, but all the sports are seen on TV and or seen with the same media support that they are at Paralympics, because these athletes, they don't just compete every 4 years, they're competing pretty much every week. You know, we've got World Series, you've got European Championships, you've got British Championships, World Championships. So I'd love that to happen. And also I think from a society point of view, it would be great that a disabled person going forward is not just seen as being the next Paralympian. It would be great that disabled people are seen as everyday society and can do exactly the same as everyone else. And hopefully that the publicity of the Paralympics helps that, but also it could also, you hear it, don't you, where it has a bit of a negative impact on the everyday society too.
We need to steal you and make you one of the Purple Goat team, because you're saying the kind of things that I say in meetings every day. So yeah, absolutely. I think from our side, like, we of course have seen this perception of triumph over adversity as one end of the sort of scale, and this sort of pity of disability as the other end, and the reality of everyone in the middle that just happens to be disabled hasn't up to this point got that much airtime. And so I suppose ultimately at Purple Goat, what we try and do and what we're going to continue to strive for is that progressive, forward-thinking, authentic representation of everyone, no matter what your background or what you're doing. You know, we know we all don't want or need to be Paralympians, but absolutely, like, the Paralympics becomes this incredible moment for us to start thinking about these conversations and having these conversations and making sure that we're progressing that narrative.
Yeah, but also from those conversations, aren't they progress into something?
Yeah.
You know, and I think, like, hopefully from London 2012 things have changed, and it's not just tick boxing, it's not just conversations. Actually, these businesses, these companies implement it, and it's not just a tick box situation, that actually they do think about having a diverse employees, having things adapted so every single person that they employ can work. Yes, it might be different. Yes, it might be they have to put a bit of money towards it, but things need for employees to work of all different disabilities, it should be put in place, and they should go out and do that thing, because we just want to make sure, yeah, like you said, not everyone is going to be a Paralympian, whether it's be a teacher or someone who works in Sainsbury's. Like, that's just as incredible as a Paralympian, you know. And yes, Paralympians are seen on TV and they've got a gold medal around their neck, but actually I think everyday society and achieving everyday things is just as amazing.
Absolutely. And the way that you're now being engaged by brands, by sort of TV, have you seen that change in terms of how clued up they are, and, you know, the things that you would just have as a default in the back of your mind around, like, wanting to make sure you're not working with people that are kind of doing things tokenistically or anything like that? Have you found there to be a natural shift for things to be better, or are you still having, and I'm not going to make you name the bad ones or anything like that, but, like, are you still finding that you're kind of dealing in circles where actually there's still a real education that's needed?
I think a bit of both, really. I think there's been amazing companies and people that I work with that are just treat me exactly the same and help and adapt and make things a lot easier. But then there's always room for improvements, and you always see those individuals that I think, yeah, you're just there for a tick box situation, and hopefully it can improve. But I know, like we mentioned earlier, so we were chatting earlier a bit around your macchiato and my water, and my big piece of banana bread and your caramel protein bar.
Very chewy caramel protein bar.
We were talking about, like, there's some amazing people who are using their voices out there. And I know my good friend Liz Johnson, she's got an incredible company called The Ability People that educates companies on how to for inclusion. And again, you see the likes of Sinead Burt with Tilting the Lens and stuff. But also, you've got those amazing people, and like myself, like yourself, and Purple Goat, but not every person needs to be putting the pressure on them to be the next voice.
No, absolutely. I think it's like realising that we all don't want to be like activists. Actually, some people will just want to be, and that's also like totally okay.
Yeah, that's all okay as well.
In terms of your kind of commitments, sort of, we've got Paris coming up, and then after that, is it still very much like you thinking about sort of the opportunities coming up as being kind of anything is possible and just opening up yourself to all opportunities that come your way? Or have you got distinct milestones into the future that you want to, like, oh, in 5 years I'd love to be doing this, or anything like that?
Yeah, do you know what? It's funny because when I was an athlete, I was very much like so focused on the future, so focused on like 4-year plan, year plan, day plan, all that type of stuff. Whereas now it's take each day as it comes, which is crazy because I've changed so much from what I used to be. But I don't really have like my sights set on, in 5 years' time, this is what I'm going to do. Do you know what? To be as busy as I am now, with all the amazing opportunities that I'm getting in 3 years, since 3 years since retiring, is just wonderful. Like, I'd love to carry on doing what I'm doing now. That would be great. But again, if this diminishes, again, going into coaching or teaching or swimming or being a primary school teacher is something I'd like to do. But at the moment, I'm loving like TV work and this.
Oh, amazing. And obviously we're a kind of social first agency, so I've got to ask this question, like, what's your relationship like with social media?
Do you know what? Social media, if I didn't have to do it, I wouldn't do it. Literally. I find it quite tough, actually. But again, I think that's my personality. I worry all the time I'm quite self-conscious with that. And I'm not really the best at it. I know from a platform point of view, and when you work with sponsors and all that type of stuff, that they want to put posts out and stories out, but I try my best as much as I can. Like, I have stages where I'm really good at, like, I always send like examples of what I'm going to post to my agent. Well, he's my agent, but he's also my best friend as well. Yeah. Because again, I'm quite conscious of like getting things mixed up or saying the wrong thing, or just, I'm quite, like, it does affect me mentally. Yeah. So I try and not go on it past normally about 5 p.m. at night, because otherwise if I see something, it can affect me quite negatively. Yeah. But if I didn't have to do it, I wouldn't. Literally, I would be off it. I've deleted Facebook, I've got rid of Twitter and just using Instagram now. Nice.
Yeah, well, I've seen a few nice coffees on your Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
And we need to still go and do the sort of tour of London coffee shops, don't we?
Yeah, no, we do, definitely.
I mean, you're totally right, though. Like, of course, social can be, it's a different place for different people, and you can take or leave from it what you want and what you need. And we obviously work with loads of creators that all day, every day are living, breathing social, and they've got an amazing capacity to do that in a way that, you know, even I wouldn't be able to do that. And like you, I would need that time not on social as well. I suppose because I work in and around it all day, every day, naturally in the evenings I probably spend less time on it myself for my own personal, time as well. I think as we've done this podcast, but also as, working in the industry, it's fascinating, like, the different relationships that people have with it. And obviously you're, like, very prominent in media, and we've seen that move from sort of terrestrial TV into digital, and then obviously into social. And actually, like, that doesn't necessarily mean as an individual you follow that path exactly the same. So it's like, I'm guessing there's at times been pressure for you to almost feel like you have to be a sort of influencer, etc., etc. But actually you're like, well, then maybe that isn't me.
Yeah, no, I know it's definitely not me. And I know, like, even things now I've figured out, and again, having this 3 years to figure that, which I'm not good at public speaking. Yeah. Like, I just get so nervous.
I probably beg to differ on that one.
Like, I'm good, like, in front of live cameras and live TV and things like this, but like if I had a whole room, like, you know, when you have to do like a 30-minute after dinner speaking, yeah. I hate it. Like, I get so nervous and I just like, I'm like, and I think to myself, why put myself in that uncomfortable situation? Now I'm very fortunate that I can do stuff that I enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it might be the retirement plan. You never know. Just do the afternoon.
Try and get over those nerves.
Yeah. No, that's brilliant. And for you, in the sort of coming weeks, months, I know you're off to Paris probably in some shape or form. Have you got any nice plans coming up over the coming weeks, coming months?
Yeah, so again, every day is different at the moment, which is so lovely. It's so nice. So from like today, chatting with you, to doing TV stuff, to interviewing, to I'm trying to think, what am I doing? That's why at the moment,
holidaying.
Oh yeah, holiday. Oh, I love holidays. I love going away. It's definitely, that's one of my hobbies. Is traveling, and yeah, definitely I'm going to a wonderful health retreat called the Body Camp in a couple of weeks, and then also going away with my friend Liz to Rhodes, and then I'm going to Australia because I'm 30 this year. 30.
Wow.
So, and my friend is getting married in Australia, so I'm going to extend my trip and spend my 30th in Australia.
That's amazing. Have you ever been before?
I have. I've been a couple of times. I could live out in Australia.
Really?
Literally. I think maybe in 10 years' time I might emigrate and be an Aussie.
Heard it here first. Breaking news. Mention about the wellness retreat. Obviously that plays into, you know, making sure that you're looking after your mental health and things like that. And how do you find that balance of looking after your mental and physical health? Is it something that you work actively on both fronts? And do you think that you have to sort of be very mindful of both of those things, I suppose?
Yeah, no, I think also it's changed a lot. When I was an athlete, I was doing exercise for my job really and my sport. And since retirement, my body's changed a lot. I know, being an individual with dwarfism, we put on weight quite easily, and now I'm not doing the same as I used to do exercise-wise. I very much have to watch what I eat, but then now with my job-wise, exercise isn't a thing that I have to do it like I can do every day because of timings of work, maybe trying to make sure sleep is more important than doing it. But at the moment, I'm just also trying to make sure and mentally be aware of myself, that not comparing my body to what it used to be when I was an athlete. I used to swim 9 times a week, 3 gym sessions, yoga, all that type of stuff. So my body was the fittest I've ever been. Whereas now I try and go to the gym if I can 3 to 4 times a week. So just being mentally, and that's changed, you know, and I definitely have my highs and lows, but I think that's also being a woman in society as well. You compare yourself to other people, you compare your body to shape, size, all that type of stuff, and I'm trying to get better and better, but it is definitely tough. But I think it's getting better with my body shape and my confidence more.
And from a kind of mental health perspective as well, like, do you find that as you grow up, you're also more mindful of what the things that you can do to support positive mental health as well?
Yeah, no, very much so. And also being aware, like, naturally my personality is I have highs, I have lows, and being aware of my lows and what to do to get out of them, such as now it's ringing friends, going for a walk, getting some fresh air, not overworking, not burning myself out, having that balance, and not saying yes to things all the time, even though I love being busy. Like, I'm addicted to being busy and doing something all the time, but also making sure that I do have a day to myself where I can just chill, you know, just get those jobs done at home, whether it's cleaning, washing, exercise, that type of stuff. But yeah, I'm very much aware of what helps me mentally, but also I think being aware of your feelings as well really helps.
Yeah. Is there anything, before we wrap up, that you would like to tell the Purple Goat world? Is there anything you want to share? Anything that you want them to know about? Anything like that? Anything that you want to plug?
That's a tough question. I think we've all got again, like, I'm very fortunate and very lucky to have this responsibility of speaking for people like myself, and I'm very thankful for it, and I'm very hope to do the best that I can. But again, there's some amazing companies like yourself that are doing that. Like, you've got individuals, but then also coming up together as a collective as well. And again, like we were chatting in the cafe, we all yes, we want the best for each other and ourselves, but also we're all individual personalities, and what works best for others doesn't work best for others as well. So it's being aware that, don't take out, like, even if we've said something wrong accidentally, we don't mean to, you know, it's just sometimes things happen. Like we were talking about from a point of view, like in swimming, Paralympians, we call the AB swimmers, able-bodied AB swimmers. That's just been a language that we've always said, and it's not, like, I say non-disabled in the everyday world, you know, but in the swimming world, AB is what we've just said. And I know that word can be quite sensitive to people, which I totally understand and totally get. But again, that's just been our terminology in swimming for so long.
Yeah, and I suppose that dual identity that you've had for so long now, you know, especially being in the public eye and therefore representing and being a natural advocate of disability very broadly, but then also you are still very much in that kind of Paralympic sphere as, you know, an incredibly successful Paralympian. So you've had that unique lens on life, which very few people have had probably. So you can be our kind of guru from the inside, and you know, you've got an insight that just so few people have had that, and, like, you know, representing and progressing all of those conversations, like the Paralympic conversation, the Paralympic movement, the professionalism of Paralympic sport, but then also, like, creating, you know, opportunity and awareness and a progressive tonality, you know, in the media around disability more broadly. And it's a really interesting and fine balance that you've got there.
Yeah, like, I've been so lucky from the age of, like, 12. I've been in the Paralympic team where I've been surrounded with people of so many different disabilities. So I've learned a lot from friends, teammates, and what it's like living with all different disabilities. But even now, in 2024, when I meet people from different walks of life, from different not swimmers or not Paralympians, from influencers to fashion advisors to all this, like, I'm learning still every single day, and it's been so interesting to have that Paralympic point of view and disability point of view, but also to expand my knowledge and learn myself. And yes, I know I've been living with a disability all my life, but I'm still learning from all different disabilities, and I find it so fascinating to still be learning and still keep learning.
Yeah, again, we'll steal you for Purple Goat, because absolutely every day is a school day, and we say that if we can help brands, if we can help individuals, you know, to iterate their practices over time, just be open to learning and educating themselves, and then being that little bit better the next day. That's all we can really ask the people. Obviously, we want them to have perfection sort of somewhere deep in the distance is where they're heading, but as long as they're on those steps to do that, like, that's how we should approach it, and that creates something that's genuinely possible and sustainable as well.
Yeah, no, exactly that. And I think, again, it's learning is exciting, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, and I think being also open to have those conversations and topics to learn from each other is just so greatly and so amazing.
Well, thank you very much for your time.
Oh, thanks, Dom.
Go and enjoy this lovely sunny day.
Oh, thank you.
And we'll catch up to you very soon, no doubt. Yeah, really nice to see you.
Thanks, Dom, and thanks to everyone at Purple Goat.
Yeah. And also, thank you very much to the ID Studios for hosting us at Purple Goat. The studios have been amazing. The team here has been awesome. It's a wonderfully accessible, welcoming, inclusive place to be. So please do check out ID Studios as well.